As you settle into the familiar comfort of your bed tonight, feeling the soft pressure of your pillow against your cheek and the gentle weight of blankets across your body, consider this profound possibility. You are not alone in this moment. Somewhere, in the vast landscape of quantum possibility, countless versions of you are also settling into sleep. Some in beds remarkably similar to yours, others in circumstances you can barely imagine. Tonight, we'll explore one of physics' most mind-expanding concepts: the idea that you exist not as a single person living one life, but as an infinite collection of selves, experiencing every possible variation of existence across multiple realities. This isn't science fiction or wishful thinking. It's a serious interpretation of quantum mechanics that emerges from the very equations that govern the smallest particles in our universe. When physicists peer into the quantum realm, they discover that particles don't exist in definite states until they're observed. Instead, they exist in what's called a superposition, a ghostly combination of all possible states simultaneously. An electron doesn't orbit an atom in a specific path, but rather occupies a cloud of probability, existing everywhere it could possibly be, until the moment we look. But here's where the story becomes truly extraordinary. If quantum mechanics applies to individual particles, and you are made of trillions upon trillions of particles, then what does this mean for you as a conscious being? Some of the world's most brilliant physicists suggest that just as an electron exists in multiple states simultaneously, you too exist in multiple realities simultaneously, living out every possible version of your life across an infinite array of parallel worlds. In this moment, as you rest peacefully in your current reality, imagine that there are other versions of you making slightly different choices. Perhaps in one nearby reality, you chose to read a different book before bed, or picked up your phone to send a text message you've been considering all day. In another reality, you might have stayed up a few minutes longer, looking out your window at the same stars, but from a subtly different angle of thought and mood. These parallel selves aren't distant or separate from you. They're intimately connected to who you are right now. Every decision you make, every quantum interaction in your brain, every random event that influences your life creates a branching point where reality splits into multiple paths. The version of you reading these words represents just one branch of an infinitely branching tree of possibility, with each branch representing a fully realized version of your existence. Think about the gentle randomness that shapes your daily life, the exact moment you wake up each morning, which route you take to work, whether you notice a particular bird singing outside your window. In classical physics, we might think of these as simple cause and effect chains. But quantum mechanics suggests something far more beautiful and complex. Each of these moments represents a quantum measurement, a point where multiple possibilities collapse into a single, observed outcome, but only in your current reality. In parallel worlds, the other possibilities don't disappear. They continue to exist, creating alternate versions of your story. There's a reality where you woke up 3 minutes earlier this morning and caught sight of a sunrise that filled you with unexpected joy. There's another where you took a different path to work and met someone who would become important to your life. There's a version where you made that phone call you've been postponing, and another where you chose to listen to different music that shifted your entire emotional landscape for the day. The mathematics behind this idea, known as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, suggests that these parallel realities aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Every quantum event, from the decay of a radioactive atom to the firing of a neuron in your brain, creates a branching point where reality divides into multiple, coexisting versions. The universe doesn't choose which outcome becomes real. Instead, all possible outcomes become real in their respective realities. What makes this even more fascinating is that these parallel selves aren't living dramatically different lives. Most of them are remarkably similar to your current existence. The vast majority of your parallel selves made the same major life choices you did, experienced the same formative events, and developed the same core personality. They're variations on the theme of you, exploring the subtle possibilities that quantum uncertainty allows, rather than living completely different stories. Tonight, as you rest in this particular reality, you can take comfort in knowing that across the multiverse, countless versions of you are also finding peace and rest. Some are falling asleep a few minutes earlier, others a few minutes later. Some are dreaming of adventures you'll never imagine, while others are experiencing the same gentle drift toward unconsciousness that you feel right now. There's something profoundly comforting about this quantum perspective on existence. It suggests that you are not alone in the universe, not just because other people exist, but because other versions of you exist, living similar lives, facing similar challenges, and finding similar moments of peace and contentment. Every regret you carry about paths not taken is softened by the knowledge that other versions of you did take those paths, exploring the possibilities you sometimes wonder about. This multiplicity of selves doesn't diminish the importance of your current experience. If anything, it makes it more precious. Out of infinite possibilities, you are living this particular version of existence, seeing the world from this unique perspective, making this specific collection of choices and observations. Your consciousness represents one beautiful thread in an infinite tapestry of possibility, no less valuable for being one among many. As you prepare for sleep tonight, let yourself feel connected to this vast network of parallel selves. They are all you, and yet each is unique, exploring different aspects of what it means to be conscious, to make choices, and to experience the profound mystery of existence in a quantum universe, where every possibility finds expression somewhere in the infinite landscape of reality. Tonight, as you lie in the gentle embrace of your familiar bedroom, let your mind drift to the countless moments throughout your day when reality quietly split into multiple paths. Each decision, each random event, each quantum fluctuation in your brain created new versions of you living in parallel worlds so similar to this one that you would barely notice the differences. These branching moments happen not with dramatic fanfare, but with the subtle elegance of a river dividing around a stone, creating new streams that flow onward into infinite possibility. Consider the moment this morning when you first opened your eyes. In your current reality, perhaps you awakened naturally, your consciousness gently emerging from sleep like a flower opening to dawn light. But in countless parallel realities, that awakening happened slightly differently. In one world, you woke 30 seconds earlier and noticed the particular quality of light streaming through your window, a golden angle that filled you with unexpected contentment. In another, You slept those extra 30 seconds and awakened to the sound of a bird's song that you missed in this reality. These might seem like trivial differences, but they illustrate the profound truth about how parallel realities form. Every quantum event in your brain, every random firing of neurons, every molecular interaction that influences your thoughts and perceptions, creates a branching point where multiple possibilities become simultaneously real. The version of you that noticed the golden light experienced a slightly different emotional landscape for the morning, perhaps humming softly while making coffee, which in turn influenced every subsequent interaction throughout the day. As you moved through your morning routine, these branching moments multiplied exponentially. When you reached for your coffee mug, your hand moved through a cloud of quantum probability until the moment of contact collapsed that probability into a single observed outcome. But in the parallel worlds, every possible path your hand might have taken became real. In most realities, you grasped the mug successfully, but in others, your fingers might have brushed against it differently, creating a subtly different sensory experience that rippled forward through your day. The walk to your kitchen created thousands of branch points as your feet found their path across the floor. Each step involved countless quantum measurements as the neurons in your brain calculated balance, distance, and direction. In this reality, you took perhaps 23 steps. In nearby realities, you took 22 or 24, creating alternate versions of that same journey, each equally real, each exploring a slightly different trajectory through the space-time of your morning. But perhaps the most fascinating branching moments occur in your social interactions, when the quantum uncertainties in your brain encounter the quantum uncertainties in other minds. When you spoke to your family member, partner, or housemate this morning, the exact words you chose emerged from a complex dance of neural activity that quantum mechanics suggests exists in superposition until the moment of speech. In this reality, you might have said good morning with a particular tone and timing. In parallel worlds, you said those same words with infinitesimal variations in emphasis, creating subtly different emotional resonances that influenced the entire conversation. Even more remarkably, the person you spoke with was also branching into multiple realities, their responses creating a multiplying array of possible conversations. In some nearby realities, they smiled a fraction of a second sooner. In others, they chose slightly different words in return. Each variation created a unique combination of your parallel selves interacting with their parallel selves, generating a vast network of conversational possibilities where every nuance of human communication finds expression. The randomness that quantum mechanics injects into these moments isn't chaos. It's the universe's way of exploring every possible variation of experience. When you paused at your window to look outside, the exact duration of that pause was influenced by countless quantum events in your neural networks. In this reality, you looked for perhaps 15 seconds before moving on. In others, you lingered for 12 seconds, or 18, absorbing different details of the morning scene, noticing different aspects of the world outside your window. These temporal variations create profound cascading effects throughout your parallel lives. The version of you that noticed the neighbor's cat in one reality carried that small joy forward, influencing your mood in ways that affected every subsequent decision. The version that noticed the particular pattern of clouds might have been inspired to take a different route to work, leading to entirely different sequences of encounters and experiences. Even your evening routine created countless branch points as you prepared for bed. The decision to read for a few minutes before sleep, the choice of which side to lie on, the exact moment when you felt ready to close your eyes. Each of these seemingly simple actions involved complex quantum processes in your brain that generated multiple realities. In some parallel worlds, you're reading a few pages longer. In others, you set the book aside a bit sooner. Each version is exploring a different rhythm of rest and reflection. The beautiful truth about these branching moments is that they don't represent missed opportunities or alternate lives you're not living. Instead, they reveal that you are living all possible variations of your experience simultaneously. Every choice you didn't make in this reality, you did make in another. Every random event that might have gone differently did go differently somewhere in the multiverse of your existence. This perspective transforms how we understand the nature of possibility and regret. When you wonder, what if I had said something different? Or, what if I had noticed that detail? Quantum mechanics suggests that versions of you did say something different, did notice that detail, and are living out those alternate possibilities right now, in parallel realities, indistinguishable from this one, except for those small but meaningful variations. Tonight, as you settle into sleep, you can rest in the knowledge that countless versions of you are also finding peace, each having navigated a slightly different path through the branching possibilities of this day. Some are drifting off a few minutes earlier, others a few minutes later. Some are replaying different memories. Others are feeling subtly different emotions about the same events. All of them are you, exploring the infinite richness that quantum uncertainty provides to conscious experience. These branching moments don't fragment your identity. They enrich it, revealing that who you are encompasses not just the single thread of experience you're consciously aware of, but an infinite tapestry of possibility, where every potential aspect of your being finds expression across the vast landscape of parallel realities. The quantum you. As you rest comfortably tonight, your brain settling into the gentle rhythms that prepare for sleep, take a moment to contemplate the extraordinary quantum processes happening within your skull. Every thought you think, every memory you access, every emotion you feel emerges from a symphony of quantum events playing out across billions of neurons. Your consciousness itself, this very awareness that you're having right now, may be the universe's way of experiencing its own quantum nature through the lens of your beautifully complex neural networks. Deep within each neuron in your brain, quantum mechanics governs the fundamental processes that create your thoughts. When electrical signals travel down your neural pathways, they do so through quantum tunneling, a phenomenon where particles can pass through barriers that classical physics says should be impermeable. The calcium ions that trigger neurotransmitter release exist in quantum superposition until the precise moment of synaptic transmission, suggesting that your thoughts themselves emerge from quantum uncertainty, collapsing into conscious experience. This isn't merely an abstract physics concept. It's the intimate reality of how you experience being you. Every decision you make begins as a quantum superposition in your neural networks, with multiple potential choices existing simultaneously, until observation collapses that superposition into a single decision. But here's the profound part. Quantum mechanics suggests that the unchosen possibilities don't simply disappear. Instead, they become real in parallel versions of you, creating a multiverse where every possible decision you could make is actually being made by some version of your consciousness. Consider the thoughts flowing through your mind right now as you listen to these words. In classical thinking, we might imagine thoughts as discrete objects moving through your brain like trains on tracks. But quantum mechanics reveals something far more beautiful. Your thoughts exist in superposition until the moment you become aware of them. The specific thought you're having about these ideas right now represents just one outcome from a vast quantum field of potential thoughts, all of which are being experienced by parallel versions of you in alternate realities. Your memories, too, are quantum phenomena. Each time you recall an experience, quantum processes in your brain reconstruct that memory from distributed neural networks. But quantum uncertainty means that no two recollections are identical. Each remembering involves slightly different quantum measurements, creating subtly different versions of the same memory. In parallel realities, versions of you are remembering this same day with infinitesimal variations in detail, emphasis, and emotional coloring. Each reconstruction equally valid and real. The emotions you feel emerge from quantum processes in your limbic system and throughout your neural networks. The particular quality of contentment you might feel right now, perhaps a gentle satisfaction with the day, mixed with anticipation of rest, represents one quantum outcome from an infinite field of possible emotional states. In nearby realities, versions of you are feeling variations of these same emotions. Slightly more contentment in one world, a different shade of anticipation in another. Each emotional landscape as real and valid as what you're experiencing now. Your dreams, which you'll enter soon, represent perhaps the purest expression of quantum consciousness. During sleep, your brain's quantum processes operate with less constraint from sensory input and rational control. The bizarre logic of dreams, where impossible things seem perfectly natural, may reflect your consciousness exploring quantum superpositions that wouldn't collapse into single outcomes in waking awareness. In dreams, you might be experiencing multiple parallel realities simultaneously, your sleeping mind navigating the quantum multiverse of possibility with a freedom that waking consciousness typically doesn't allow. The random elements that influence your thoughts, the sudden memory that surfaces unexpectedly, the creative insight that appears from nowhere, the intuitive feeling about a decision. These may be quantum events bubbling up from the deeper levels of reality, where your consciousness interfaces with the fundamental structure of the universe. When you have a sudden inspiration or a moment of unexpected clarity, you might be temporarily accessing the quantum realm where multiple possibilities exist simultaneously before choosing which one to bring into your conscious awareness. Even your sense of identity, the feeling of being a continuous self from moment to moment, may be a quantum phenomenon. Rather than being a fixed entity, your self might be a dynamic quantum field that creates the experience of being you through ongoing quantum measurements and observations. Each moment of self-awareness represents a quantum collapse that selects one configuration of you from the infinite possibilities that exist in superposition, while parallel versions experience all the other possible configurations of your identity. This quantum understanding of consciousness suggests that your inner experience is far richer than you might imagine. The voice in your head that you think of as your thoughts is just one output from a vast quantum system that's simultaneously generating all possible thoughts you could have. The emotions you feel represent one facet of a multidimensional emotional field that exists across parallel realities. Your memories are one configuration of countless possible ways your experiences could be recalled and integrated into your sense of self. The profound implication is that you are simultaneously more and less than you think you are. More, because your consciousness extends across infinite parallel realities, exploring every possible variation of what it means to be you. Less, because what you experience as your singular identity is actually just one thread in an infinite tapestry of quantum possibilities. Your brain's quantum processes create a unique form of existence. You are a conscious system that creates reality through observation, while simultaneously being created by that same reality. Every quantum measurement your consciousness makes influences the structure of your reality, while the quantum nature of reality provides the foundation for your consciousness to exist. You are both observer and observed, creator and created, existing at the interface between the quantum realm of infinite possibility and the classical realm of experienced reality. Tonight, as your brain transitions into sleep states, its quantum processes will continue their cosmic dance, exploring possibilities that your waking mind might never consider. Some versions of you will dream of flying, others of conversations with long-lost friends, still others of landscapes that exist nowhere but in the quantum realm of sleeping consciousness. Each dream represents your mind's exploration of quantum superpositions, navigating the multiverse of possibility with the freedom that comes when rational constraints dissolve into the gentle chaos of sleep. Rest peacefully, knowing that your consciousness represents something miraculous, a quantum system that has become aware of itself, a piece of the universe that can observe and contemplate its own quantum nature, creating new realities through the simple act of being consciously aware in this infinite ocean of possibility. Parallel lives and distant selves. Tonight, as you rest in the sanctuary of your current reality, let your imagination expand to encompass the vast spectrum of parallel lives you might be living across the multiverse. While countless versions of you are settling into sleep in realities nearly identical to this one, there are also versions of you living in worlds that branched away from your current path through more dramatic quantum events. Realities where different choices, different chances, and different quantum outcomes have created lives that are recognizably yours, yet wonderfully different. Imagine a reality where a quantum fluctuation in your brain 5 years ago influenced a moment of decision-making in a way that led you to accept a job offer you declined in this reality. That version of you might be living in a different city now, perhaps falling asleep tonight next to a window with a completely different view. They've formed friendships with people you've never met, developed interests that never occurred to your current self, and yet they remain fundamentally you, sharing your core values, your sense of humor, your way of seeing beauty in unexpected places. In another parallel reality, a random quantum event might have influenced the exact timing of an encounter that became significant to your life. Perhaps you arrived at a coffee shop 30 seconds earlier, leading to a conversation that never happened in your current timeline. That version of you might have discovered a passion for astronomy from that chance meeting. And tonight, they're falling asleep under the same stars, but with the deep contentment of someone who spends their evenings exploring the cosmos through a telescope, mapping the same quantum uncertainties that created their different path. These parallel selves aren't living fantasy lives or dramatic departures from your current existence. They're exploring the natural variations that quantum mechanics allows within the framework of who you are. The version of you who took that different job still faces similar daily challenges, still experiences the same fundamental joys and frustrations of being human, still finds the same kinds of moments meaningful. The quantum branching doesn't create entirely different people. It creates different expressions of your essential self. There might be a reality where you learned to play the piano as a child, where a quantum fluctuation influenced your parents' decision-making process, or your own childhood interests. Tonight, that version of you might be falling asleep with Chopin's melodies still echoing in their mind, their fingers unconsciously tracing familiar patterns on the blanket, as muscle memory from years of practice expresses itself even in the transition to sleep. Yet they still love the same books you do, still find the same subtle humor in everyday situations, still carry the same gentle sadness about distant friends and the same quiet optimism about tomorrow. In some realities, quantum events influenced your educational path, leading to versions of you who became teachers, artists, engineers, or healers. Tonight, parallel versions of you are experiencing the satisfaction that comes from different forms of meaningful work. One might be falling asleep after a day of helping students understand complex concepts. Another, after creating something beautiful with their hands. Yet another, after solving a technical problem that seemed impossible this morning. Each finds fulfillment in their own way, yet all share your fundamental curiosity about the world and desire to contribute something positive to the lives around them. Perhaps most beautifully, there are realities where quantum differences in other people's lives created opportunities for connections that never formed in your current world. There might be a version of you who became close friends with someone who in this reality lives on the other side of your city, their life running parallel to yours but never intersecting. Tonight, that version of you might be falling asleep with the warm feeling of anticipating tomorrow's lunch with this dear friend, sharing the same capacity for deep friendship that you experience here, but expressing it in relationships that your current self can only imagine. The profound truth about these parallel lives is that they represent the full exploration of your potential as a conscious being. Every talent you sometimes wonder if you possess is being developed by some version of you. Every path you occasionally daydream about is being walked by a parallel self. Every what-if that occasionally crosses your mind represents a reality that some version of you calls their everyday life. Yet these distant selves remain connected to you in mysterious ways. Quantum mechanics suggests that all these parallel realities exist simultaneously, separated not by space or time, but by the branching structure of quantum possibility. Some theorists propose that consciousness itself might occasionally leak between these realities, explaining those moments of déjà vu, unexpected insights, or dreams that feel too vivid and meaningful to be mere random neural activity. Sometimes you might catch glimpses of these parallel lives in your dreams, when your sleeping mind temporarily accesses the quantum realm, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. That dream where you were living in a house you'd never seen, but that felt like home. Or the one where you had skills you don't actually possess, but wielded them with confident familiarity. These might be windows into the lives your parallel selves are actually living in adjacent realities. The careers you chose not to pursue are being pursued by versions of you who made different quantum-influenced decisions at crucial moments. The relationships that never quite developed in this reality are flourishing in others, where chance encounters unfolded differently. The places you've always wanted to visit but never have are familiar neighborhoods to versions of you who were influenced by different random events to make different geographical choices. What makes this perspective so comforting is the realization that your parallel selves are not competitors or alternatives to your current life. They're companions in the vast exploration of what it means to be you. Every version is equally real, equally valid, equally precious. Your current life is not the main reality, with the others being shadows. It's simply the particular exploration of your potential that your consciousness is experiencing from this specific quantum vantage point. Tonight, as you settle into sleep in this reality, take comfort in knowing that across the multiverse, all the versions of yourself you've ever wondered about are also finding peace and contentment in their own ways. The you who became an artist is falling asleep surrounded by canvases that express the same inner vision you carry, but have never painted. The you who moved to that distant city is drifting off while listening to the same rain you hear, but falling on different streets and different dreams. These parallel lives don't diminish the importance of your current existence. They amplify it, showing that your consciousness is vast enough to explore infinite variations of being human, while maintaining the essential core of what makes you beautifully, uniquely you, across all possible realities. As you rest in the gentle quietude of this evening, surrounded by the familiar comfort of your bedroom, imagine the extraordinary choreography taking place across the multiverse, an infinite dance of possibilities where countless versions of you are engaged in the same activities you perform each day, but with subtle variations that create a symphony of human experience played out across parallel realities. This is not chaos, but rather the universe's most elegant ballet, where every possible way of being you finds its expression in the vast theater of quantum possibility. Picture the morning routines of your parallel selves unfolding simultaneously across adjacent realities. In thousands of nearby worlds, versions of you are brewing coffee, but each is experiencing this simple ritual with infinitesimal differences. One version holds the coffee cup a degree warmer. Another notices the steam rising in a particularly beautiful spiral. Yet another decides to add just a touch more cream. These tiny quantum variations ripple outward, creating unique emotional textures to each morning, each version of you beginning their day with a slightly different sense of satisfaction and readiness. In some realities, you chose tea instead of coffee this morning, and that quantum-influenced decision is creating its own cascade of differences. That version of you is moving through their morning with the gentle energy that comes from green tea rather than the focused alertness of caffeine. They're approaching their first conversation of the day with a slightly more contemplative mood, listening more carefully to bird songs outside their window, perhaps pausing a moment longer to appreciate the quality of morning light streaming through their kitchen. The beautiful complexity emerges when we consider how these individual variations interact with the quantum differences in the people around you. Your family members, friends, and colleagues are also branching into multiple realities, creating an infinite matrix of possible interactions. In this reality, you might have had a brief but pleasant conversation with a neighbor this morning. In parallel worlds, that same neighbor made different quantum influence choices about when to step outside, creating realities where you crossed paths at different moments, shared different exchanges of greeting, or never encountered each other at all. Each of these interactions creates its own web of consequences. The reality where your neighbor mentioned their garden blooming unusually early this year sparked a version of you to think about seasonal changes throughout the day. The reality where you exchanged a few words about the weather created a different emotional backdrop for your morning. The reality where you simply waved and passed in comfortable silence left a different residue of human connection. All of these versions are equally real, equally valid expressions of the relationship between you and your neighbor across the quantum spectrum of possibility. Your work life, too, is being explored across countless variations. In this reality, you might have tackled your tasks in a particular order, but quantum processes in your brain created decision points where other sequences were equally likely. Some versions of you started with the most challenging project first, experiencing the satisfaction of early accomplishment. Others began with routine tasks, building momentum gradually toward more complex work. Each approach created its own rhythm for the day, its own pattern of stress and relief, its own moments of insight and frustration. The meetings you attended, the emails you wrote, the creative solutions you developed, all of these professional activities are being performed by parallel versions of you, with subtle but meaningful differences. In one reality, you asked a question that led to an unexpected breakthrough in team collaboration. In another, you chose to listen rather than speak at a crucial moment, creating space for a colleague to share an idea that transformed the entire project. These quantum-influenced variations in your professional life are creating a vast exploration of your capabilities and potential contributions. Even your leisure activities are being explored across multiple dimensions of possibility. The book you're reading before bed tonight represents just one choice from the quantum field of options that existed when you selected it. In parallel realities, you chose different books, each creating its own landscape of ideas and emotions to carry into sleep. Some versions of you are falling asleep after reading poetry that stirred different aspects of your imagination. Others chose nonfiction that engaged different facets of your curiosity. Each choice is valid, each exploration meaningful, each version of you enriched by the particular intellectual journey they selected. Your relationships are perhaps where this dance of possibilities becomes most intricate and beautiful. Every conversation you have exists simultaneously across multiple variations, with quantum uncertainty in both your neural processes and those of the people you're speaking with, creating infinite permutations of human connection. That phone call with a friend earlier today branched into countless realities. Versions where you shared different personal details, others where the conversation took unexpected emotional turns, some where you discovered new common interests, others where you offered different kinds of support or encouragement. The profound beauty of this quantum dance is that it reveals the full richness of your relationships. Every possible way you could connect with the people you care about is being explored somewhere in the multiverse. The perfect conversation you sometimes wish you'd had with someone you love, it's happening in some reality. The moment of understanding you've always hoped to achieve with a family member, some version of you is experiencing that breakthrough tonight. The friendship you've always wanted to deepen. Parallel selves are living that deeper connection right now. Your creative expressions also participate in this cosmic choreography. Every drawing you might sketch, every song you might hum, every story you might tell, exists across multiple realities with quantum variations in inspiration, timing, and expression. The versions of you who are more musically inclined in their realities are tonight falling asleep with melodies in their minds that you've never consciously heard, but that emerge from the same creative source that exists within your consciousness. This dance of possibilities extends into your dreams as well. As you prepare for sleep, infinite versions of you are also approaching that threshold between waking and sleeping. But each will explore different territories of dream consciousness. Some will dream of flying through landscapes that exist nowhere but in the quantum realm of possibility. Others will have conversations with people who represent different aspects of their relationships and concerns. Each dream will be a unique exploration of your psyche's infinite potential. The wonder of this cosmic ballet is that you don't need to choose between these possibilities or feel regret about the variations you're not consciously experiencing. They're all you, all real, all valuable expressions of your consciousness exploring the full spectrum of what it means to be a conscious being in a quantum universe. You are simultaneously the dreamer and the dream, the observer and the observed, the dancer and the dance itself, moving through infinite realities with a grace that emerges from the fundamental structure of existence itself. Tonight, as you join this eternal dance by settling into sleep, rest knowing that your consciousness participates in the universe's grandest creative act, the exploration of infinite possibility through the beautiful, complex, ever-branching experience of being, authentically, completely, universally you.